Welcome back. You know, I can't believe that it's nearly 4 years since I showed you my Smith & Wesson Model 41 beautiful target pistol. Let me just review a few things about this gun that will maybe clarify some issues that people have had. I see certain things written up in blogs where people have got some difficulties with this pistol, and they really don't need to if they understand how to care for it, and it's certain requirements that this pistol has to operate in top firing condition. It's an extremely reliable gun, and accuracy that's what this gun is all about. I'll talk a little bit about the design. Again, I spoke about this gun at length in a video about 4 years ago out by the barn with Benny. But this Model 41 Smith & Wesson 22 long rifle was developed by Smith & Wesson over a number of years leading up to 1957 when it was released. And the design work started shortly after World War II in the late 40s. The whole idea was to conceive a target pistol, a bullseye, a high-grade target pistol that had the familiar feel that GIs knew all about, where the safety was located here. It's certainly not designed the same, but the location is the same. The safety is right here. Your slide release is right here, and the magazine release is right here. So, you know, for anybody who had that understanding, in other words, the muscle memory of the to operate the 1911, it was right spot on with this pistol. Not only that, but the grip angle had the same number of degrees as the 1911 government model. A couple of very, very important features that the designers worked on to keep this gun at top accuracy and without complications was, first of all, to have the barrel integral to the sights, or vice versa. In other words, the sights and the barrel are one. The barrel does not move when this gun is fired. The slide operates independently and doesn't interact whatsoever with the rear sight, which was often the case with different pistols at the time. And it's really, really highly fitted. The engineering on this, I mean, anybody who looks at this would say that when you handle this gun and just feel the way this operates, this is superb engineering. I mean, very, very close tolerances. It's some of those close tolerances that create problems for people because they simply don't they don't understand necessarily how to keep it functioning. Let us go over to the workbench, and I'll break this down and describe in detail how you can very easily keep this running like a Swiss watch. Now, isn't that a beautiful piece of engineering? I'll tell you what, there's a lot of beautiful pistols in this world. There are a lot of beautiful guns in this world. But when it comes to exquisite engineering, Smith & Wesson got it right a long time ago, a long, long time ago. And its production halted for a very short period of time in the early 90s and was subsequently resumed in what they call the new model. I could look up the serial number sometime, but one of the things that I see, I'll take this magazine out right now and assure you that the gun is clear. One of the things that I sometimes see in blogs written up, it seems to be a concern that these guns, because they're so finely engineered, that they're susceptible to wear and damage, that there are weaknesses involved because of that. It's not a delicate gun. It's precisely engineered, but it's not by any means delicate. This has got superb tolerances. Everything about the gun is made for accuracy, but it is not a weak gun, and it does not need to be pampered or babied or anything else. The type of ammunition that you can shoot in this gun is virtually any .22 long rifle ammunition that you want. The owner's manual does not specify standard velocity ammunition, and there's no cautionaries in that regard. It's capable of firing any .22 long rifle ammunition that you can procure, and it will fire perfectly safely. Certainly don't shoot CCI stingers or any long brass. Stingers have got long brass, and this has got a target chamber. Now, that can lead to some difficulties with certain ammunition, of course, because the tolerances on some ammunition may not be as closely matched to the tight matched chamber as would be necessary for proper functioning. In other words, what I'm saying, for reliable functioning, is still going to shoot, but you may have issues with cases not feeding or extracting properly if you have cases that are not uniform, cheap ammunition. Most often people find, and I found also, that CCI ammunition just works. Whatever kind of CCI ammunition you put in, it just works superbly. Although I've fired even this stuff right here. This is a bargain pack. I've got a few boxes of this, and it shoots this stuff just absolutely fine. No problem whatsoever. These are high velocity rounds, and it handles nicely. So it's not a weak gun, and you don't have to worry about high velocity ammunition battering it up. I see sometimes people will say, well, it was made for standard velocity ammunition. If you put anything else in it, you're going to be shortening its life. Well, that's not true. It's no more true than with any other firearm that's designed for .22 long rifle ammunition. It's not weak. So go ahead and shoot whatever your heart's content in it. As long as it functions, you're fine. So we've assured ourselves that it's clear. Return the slide to the rear and lock it back, just like that. Now, it's probably easiest, you want to secure the barrel, because the barrel is only fixed in place by one point of locking. So you want to wrap your hand around the gun like this and just pull down on the trigger guard. That's all there is to it. On guns that haven't been taken apart before, that may be a little bit stiff, but confidently just pull straight down on that trigger guard. Make sure you have the slide to the rear, otherwise it's not going to work. And then lift the barrel assembly straight off. So let's take a look at that and see what distinguishes this pistol from so many other target pistols that were made in the era and even now. This is your entire this is the entire accuracy component right here. The trigger mechanism is one of the most delightful triggers I've ever felt in my life. It's indescribable. That's the way a lot of people describe it. It's indescribable. It's such a crisp. Usually they come out of the factory with about a 2.5 to 2 pounds, 10 ounces or something, right from the factory with no backlash. There's a backlash adjustment right here behind the trigger guard that can be adjusted with the trigger guard in the down position. But there's nothing any better than this trigger when it comes to a 2.5 pound target trigger. And but the accuracy component is right here. This is what sets this apart from most other guns. You've got all in one piece with no parts that move around or can be out of there's no requirement for bushings or anything to hold the accuracy components together. The barrel is all integrated with the front and the rear sight, and that's just the way this gun has satisfied the needs of the most demanding target shooters for oh, we're going on 70 years pretty soon. So it's a fantastic gun. The slide removes very, very simply. Draw it straight to the rear until it can be lifted off of the frame, off the grip frame, and just let it slide straight forward. And you'll notice that the guide rod and the spring separate from the lower grip frame, and you should, by the way, have the safety on so that you don't accidentally pull the trigger and let that hammer slap forward, because this is like I say, this is a very, very light trigger. It's only a little more than a 2.5 pound trigger in most of these guns, and very, very crisp. And also, here's your guide rod and slide. And the guide rod always goes into the finished end of the spring. One end of the spring is a cut coil, and that goes inside this hole right here in the front of the slide. And let's take a look at that slide. That's just pure beauty. I mean, the machine work, the mill work on this is just, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on here they didn't need to do, but this is the way this gun was made. This gun was made with everything that they could put into it to just make it better than anything else on the market. Returning this, let's talk first about one of the accuracy issues, or I should say the reliability issue. This has got a target chamber. When I say a target chamber, the chamber is tighter than your standard 22 long rifle chamber. And that can sometimes pose difficulties with cheap ammunition that doesn't have close tolerances on the brass. Thicker brass will just simply not feed and function correctly with this gun. So CCI ammunition seems to get it right all the time, no matter what type of ammunition that you use, whether it's standard velocity or the green tag or any of the the mini mags, any of them, they'll all function just absolutely perfectly in it. Other brands, you have to just test them and see how they go in this gun. A secret to keeping this gun operating all the time, keeping in mind that that's got a target chamber, is to it's susceptible to getting fouled with carbon. And when a tight chamber like that is fouled with carbon, as with any pistol, the chamber will foul with carbon. But with this one here, because it's got such a tight chamber, it can cause sticking of the brass in the chamber. It's not a bad idea before you begin shooting with this gun to take just a couple of drops of oil and run it through the barrel. Now, you've heard me many times say that I do not place oil in the chamber of a firearm because it causes blow-by. It causes case slippage. In other words, bolt thrust to the rear. Well, I'm talking about center fire guns where that causes an issue, because center fire guns, high pressure ammunition, the brass being forced to the rear by a slippery chamber can be very, very dangerous. It raises the amount of pressure on that bolt significantly. Well, this is a blowback design, and blowback design guns, that's how they operate. They actually physically throw the bolt back because the case slides to the rear inside the chamber during firing. So in this particular case, you absolutely have no issue with a slightly oiled patch down through the barrel all the way. And don't over oil it. We don't want to coat the inside of the barrel with a large amount of oil. But all we're doing is just I can look down through it, and in my light I can look down through it and I can see it. The barrel is glistening, the chamber is glistening, and there's good case slippage inside that chamber. If it starts to have feeding and extraction problems, things like that, if it fails to extract, just take a moment to run run a patch down through with a couple of drops of oil. And always remember, you're talking about a superbly accurate gun. Always put it from the breech end forward, and that's it. Just a couple of passes with a lightly oiled patch. That will preclude virtually all the chambering issues that people have. And that will also allow you to use, sometimes even allow you to use some of the cheaper ammo. I've noticed that with this gun. You want to keep this gun lightly oiled. It's a gun with close tolerances, and if only to preserve the bluing, make sure that you apply just a wipe of oil. Do not dribble oil onto a gun. You're always going to be over oiling it that way. Just take a oiled Q-tip and oil any contacting parts, and that will assure that your bluing stays pretty forever. And that's all there is to it. And I'm going to do the same thing with the rod here. Looks like it's already got oil on it. Again, this is not a dribbling process. You're just simply applying light amounts of oil. And by the way, oil, you know, is a cleanser. You know, you can remove carbon with oil, but do not over oil with this and remove any excess, because you want to preserve that from having. You don't want the oil to be attracting carbon, which will cause issues. So just go over the gun lightly with an oiled Q-tip I've got here. That's sufficient, and then wipe it off with the other end, and that'll keep you going in good shape. Okay, let's put it back together. Now, you can have a gun which is extremely easy to put together, but you know, if you don't know how to do it, it's not easy. So with your guide rod, insert the guide rod into there's a recess right here, and just insert it with the cut end of the coil outside. That coil goes into the hole on the front of the slide. Now, you'll notice that we start over again, just so I can explain something here. This portion of the lower unit rides on the outside of this portion of the slide, and you got to be careful, because you could do there's some sharp contact surfaces there, and if you don't want to be scarring them up. So be very, very cautious, and keep your eyes on what you're doing at all time, and don't rush things. So I'm going to start over again so you can see what I'm trying to do, what I'm showing you. Again, take that coil, the cut coil, lay it inside that hole, and just keep the two parts parallel, the two assemblies parallel, and start it back. What you want to do now is go all the way to the rear and drop it down. Now, when you drop it down on top of the grip frame, there's a little bit of a spring movement right here. You want to push it down that extra. It's not even a 1/16 of an inch, but you want to make sure you push it all the way down before you let the slide come forward, and don't let it slam forward. Once you know that it's on the rails, then return it and lock it in place like that. That's all you have to do. Now, with this, you'll see this large lug right here. This large lug drops into this way right here. Drop it straight in, and watch this. These surfaces right here will be right directly behind this wall here at the bottom of the barrel. So we're just going to drop that. Normally I would be doing this vertically, but I want to show you what I'm doing on the camera. So that's all you have to do is put it straight down. make sure that it's seated flush, and make sure that it's all the way down front and rear. Once it is, just snap that trigger guard up and you're in business. That's how nice and easy this whole operation is. So there you go, the Model 41 Smith & Wesson target pistol. Fantastic. I mean, absolutely superb. It's a very demanding gun. I mean that it demands a lot of you, because there's no excuses with this gun. If you miss, if I miss, it's because of me. It's not because of this pistol. It simply doesn't get any more accurate than this for a handgun. And nor does the trigger get any better. This just can't. It's just fantastic. And the sights are so sharp and crisp and bold. That's all I have to say about that. You know, I encourage anybody who is on the lookout for the best target pistol there is. You can't get any better than this one. Costly, yes. But I thank my Patreon donors for all the assistance that you give me, so I can buy ammo and everything. We're going to try to get out as soon as this some of the snow lets up. It's you know, quite deep out there. Murphy's having a blast. He goes out there and he plays. He's like Benny. He just loves the snow. He plays submarine. He disappears under the snow for a couple of seconds before he comes up. He's a big ball of white, and he looks at you with kind of a big grin on his face. He loves it, and so he's having a good time. I'm looking forward to when he gets a little bit older, where I can start doing some serious field training with him. You know, he's only 14 and a half, going on, I guess he turned just 15 weeks today. So that's it. But he's still a young guy. He's still a pup, and I got my battle wounds here, because you know he's got the puppy biting thing going on, and that all puppies do that. It gets a little bit old sometimes when you have blood running out of you, but that's all right. He'll go past that stage. Benny did. And he turned into quite a gentleman. But for a while, we thought every time we had him out, we thought we had a dogfish on our hands. So, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and please, if you like us, thumbs up, please, and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. God bless.